Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the show. It's me, Primetime, Double Nine, on the grind all the time. And I just want to start off by saying congratulations to one of my biggest haters, Dave Portnoy, on his reacquisition of Barstool Sports. And a lot of people don't know that Dave and I have a very storied past, which climaxed with me taking my wife's boyfriend, Darius, to the Barstool headquarters in New York City and crashing their studios live while they were on the air, creating one of the most viral moments in their company's existence. And Dave Portnoy only hates me more for it. I mean, I incidentally created more content as a non-employee than probably 75% of the employees that actually work there. And the reason why I was making this nice statement tonight is because I don't want to work for Barstool, but I would like to have a copacetic relationship. They could potentially open up more avenues for great confrontational content with people like Brittany Griner or Megan Rapinoe. And of course, I can do this all by myself. But I do think a friendship between Blaze Media and Barstool Sports could benefit both of our companies greatly. And then I also hope that we can squash the beef and potentially maybe you'll come on the show, Dave, or I could go on your show, because a united front could make both of us much stronger instead of fighting and hurting ourselves in the process. And another congratulations is in order for Ben Mintz on his return to Barstool with Dave as well. Ben is a longtime friend of mine, a guy that I respect and like, and I know this will be a great chance for him to redeem himself. Best of luck to you boys. I'll be on the lookout because Primetime 99 Alex Stein might be coming to headquarters to have a little unexpected conference call with the man Dave Portnoy himself. But whether you like it or not, pimp, I'm coming. So let's stop fighting and start celebrating a bright future for all of us in the independent media world.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself why would I make time for you lames? At all costs, cause I'm a boss. I'll break them off, yeah, gotta break them off.
Hey guys, we have some terrible news. I don't even know how to say this because really I'm just emotionally torn from the inside out. I don't even really know how to say this, but we have a great show. But before we can even get into our guests or Mark Dice or any of the funny things that we have planned, at least we're going to try to be funny, we have to talk about the person that we lost. I want to say RIP to Darius. Last night after the show, him and I got in a little argument, and I stabbed him to death. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, that is, illegal, or that is wrong, or you didn't give him a sportsman's chance. I did. I gave him a gun. I didn't give him any bullets. And I had a knife, and he was on Delta 8s, and he just looked very aggressive, very menacing. And I stabbed him, and he's dead, and he's gone forever. So before we play any in memoriam stuff, I just want to bring on our guests. Welcome to the show, Logan Hall. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Were you close to Darius? He was an employee here about as long as you've been an employee here.
Yeah, I got the chance to meet him real quick. I don't think I had as much of a relationship as you did with him. But
no, him and I were very close, very close. Now let's play some of Darius's most instrumental and monumental moments on the show. What? This is the first time that you've ever done this, Sinbad? Sinbad, seriously, describe it. Darius. Describe. What do you think about Avon, Darius? Have you ever thought about it?
I haven't.
So. Chew it.
These are the visuals you give me.
Pull down, Darius. We need the microphone, Darius. Darius, get up. Those are some of the best moments I've ever had in my entire life. And when I killed him last night, I didn't know it hurt this bad. At the time, it felt good. I was really sexually aroused during it. But now watching that video, I just feel really guilty. I feel really bad. And I just miss you, Darius. I miss eating sushi off your dick. I miss you so much. I just want, real quick, if we can all just take like a moment of silence for 20 seconds. Please, you count, Jimmy, because I don't want to count.
The countdown starting now.
Roger that. Start the countdown right now.
Before we start the countdown, which McDonald's?
Oh, are they saying in the chat? That's the McDonald's on Warner Road, and we're gonna have. It's the first. I'm buying $200 worth of Big Macs and French fries. So, whoever gets there, if we spend $200 in like 10 minutes, that's on you for not being there. So, we're going to the McDonald's. That's the one. That's actually the McDonald's that he was banned from for getting a water cup and putting soda in. But I talked to the manager, Denise, and she's all like, she feels really bad about it. So that is, I just want to clarify, that's a McDonald's on Warner, and it's, yeah. So if you guys want to go there this Saturday, when is it, Jimmy?
Sunday, August 18th at 2
Sunday,
p.m.
August 18th. We're going to be at the McDonald's, and we're going to eulogize him and really just give him the send-off that he deserves. So R.I.P. Darius. So with all that, I'm sorry that we had to start off the show like that, but you might wonder, who's the thin, good-looking fella sitting next to me? Well, this guy is Logan Hall. He's actually running the social media here at The Blaze, and he actually got me in a little bit of hot water.
I did.
He shared a clip of my recent interview with Vivek Ramaswamy, presidential candidate, and it went viral because I asked him a simple question. Did he think the official story was correct when it came to 9/11? And he just basically said a very, I think, milquetoast response. Said, hey, the 9/11 commission report, which was heavily redacted, was not accurate, and he's getting killed. And so I have to thank this man, Logan. How did you know that would be such a viral moment?
Of course. Yeah, I don't know. I think so often in our media environment, they just ask the same old boring questions. So I think that was great of you to pick Vivek's brain on that. And he had a good answer. So I was like, why not? I'll just throw it up on the social medias.
And then I don't know if we have this on the screen or not, but freaking Vivek he's getting to go on Brett Byer's show. He's at Fox News is having him. He's getting a lot more publicity by saying the wrong thing because they have to like put him on a pedestal so they can say he's bad. Because if they just said, oh, a random guy that is not a serious candidate said 9/11 was not what they said, then they wouldn't be threatened. But because he's a candidate, and so they have to elevate him now. Now they have to be like, look, this is what the right wing is all about. They're a bunch of QAnon, 9/11 truthers. And I really wish these politicians would actually tell the truth. You know there's other people in D.C. that agree with Vivek.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I like Jimmy Dore's answer on your show a couple days ago, I think it was. He said, government is run on transparency. If you don't have any of that, then you don't really have democracy in any real sense. And that's true. And Vivek gave it was not like he went unhinged or went off the cliff with his explanation. He just said, look, I believe that it was a terrorist attack. It probably wasn't a false flag. But he said, do I think the government told us the truth about everything? No. That's
Captain Obvious. Flight 93 just went down in the middle of nowhere, and they just said, oh, the passengers overtook the plane and then crashed it into the ground, and there was like nothing remaining. Yet they found passports. They couldn't find a black box. They found multiple passports. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that is just very fishy. And as a guy that gets a lot of punani, I can tell when something's real fishy.
Yeah, and Vivek did a good job at handling the backlash to that. I think he could have maybe defended Mr. Prime
yeah, Primetime Stein! Vivek, you come up on my set and you don't defend me right.
But yeah, it was good. And he even cited, he said, with what we saw happen with COVID, with the government just straight up lying to us.
They never lied. Everything about the COVID narrative was correct. The government would never lie. We love the WHO and we love the CDC. Thank you, Dr. Fauci, for being so great. Now, what were you saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point that if they're going to lie about all of this stuff, why they obviously could have lied about 9/11, which, especially when we look now, I mean, some of the apparatuses that were used to surveil potential terrorism activity, those are kind of being turned domestically on conservatives, so and right-wingers and dissidents. So I think
January 6th.
Yeah, exactly, January 6th too. So, and nothing they told us about that was true either. So I think it was fine. I think we need a lot more of those sorts of conversations in national politics today.
I agree. And we also need to talk about the Ice Wall and Game of Thrones and Tartaria and hidden civilizations and aliens. But before we get to that, sadly, my guest here, he has, what is it, alopecia? Why can't you grow facial hair?
Yeah, I was the last guy in middle school to ever grow armpit hair. My friends had armpit hair like 3 years before I did.
Well, that's
so it'll probably be I'll probably be like 40 and then I'll be able to grow a beard finally.
Well, I like Logan because I can't grow a beard either. Like I just get this stubble. So
You're
that's what I'm
nuts
saying.
on that.
We are literally, I don't know why that is, but and you look young too. Like I look young, I look like a little kid. But I still have to shave other areas of my body, and I'm sure Logan's butt is a little hairy and something else. You know what? So, guys, I want to introduce our sponsor, Manscaped. They are your partner in grooming. Just like babies need gentle care, your sensitive areas deserve the best. Experience the ultimate grooming routine with the Platinum Package 4.0. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code ALEX at manscaped.com. The Platinum Package 4.0 by Manscaped offers top-notch grooming tools and products. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer and Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer feature advanced skin-safe technology, making grooming safe and easy. Enjoy their ultra premium body wash and their 2-in-1 shampoo plus conditioner and aluminum-free deodorant for a complete shower upgrade. With the Platinum Package 4.0, you get more than grooming tools. You get confidence, baby. So use that code ALEX for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Elevate your grooming routine with manscaped.com. And seriously, show me on camera. Somebody go to manscaped.com right now, and go use my code ALEX. They're not going to buy any more sponsors on this show, any more sponsorships, unless we use that code. So I know you're out there. I know you're hairy. I know you're stinky. Get that 2-for-1 shampoo, because you know what that means? You only have to shampoo or take a shower once every 2 days. Did you know that, Logan?
I did not, but that was a great read.
Yes. Well, I appreciate that. But I'm telling you, 2-for-1 shampoo, that's 2 days, 1 shower. When they get the 3-for-1, then we can really go bananas, because I hate showering. But I know your stinky ass needs some freaking grooming, all right? So guys, please, go to this website. I'm begging you. I'm not begging you. I'm telling you with a knife to go there. And if you don't, I will be in your dreams and your nightmares haunting you. And I will be the ball of hair stuck in your throat. Get that hair out of your throat. Go to manscaped.com. Use a promo code ALEX. That's not a suggestion. That is a direct order. What do you think about the conflict in Ukraine?
I think it's definitely a scam. I think, we're hearing all about these payments that the Biden family got now from Ukraine and all these other foreign nations. And the GOP is so compromised by their continual funding of this proxy war that they're kind of like tempted to now, but they'll hardly even impeach Biden now, because they themselves are also compromised in this situation.
Well, see, that's a good point, Logan, because I'm waiting for the impeachment, or they're going to make him step down, some sort of humiliation ritual. But I didn't even come to think about how deep his tentacles are. If he goes down, probably a lot of people go down with him.
Yes.
So that's why they're protected.
Yeah, the entire Republican war apparatus would also go down.
Just, fold in like a house of cards. Speaking of Kevin Spacey, I guess not guilty, but he's still, I think, a perv. But okay, let's get into this. So I don't know if you know this guy. His name's Coach Red Pill, Gonzalo Lira, and he was actually recently caught at the border of Ukraine trying to go to Poland, I believe. I forget where the hell he was trying to go. But This is actually the Ukrainian. This woman's name is Sarah Kirillo, I believe, and this is the transgender liaison for the media. And this is real. This is really her. This is her. Have you seen this woman?
I have not.
She's beautiful. Why is that so funny? Okay, you guys are. If you guys don't think that is beauty and grace, look at those titties. Are you kidding? I'd love to honk on those. Honk, honk. But before we get into those titties, we're going to be able to see those titties live in 4K all the way from Kiev, Ukraine. Sarah Kirillo is here to deliver a statement.
Sarah Savio Kirillo is part of my dead name. Alex, Ukrainian war has been going good. We've been smashing and killing hundreds of thousands of these Russian hordes and monsters. But we were just recently attacked, surprise attacked. I could tell because my nipples watered milk. I know that when we have shelling, my nipples always milk. And it was horrible. It was horrible. They took a bayonet of cock to my eye.
What you're saying, but I thought you were transgender. Well, how do your nipples can tell you when there's distress?
Yes, milk.
Okay.
Big Slavic milk from the mother Volga.
Okay, please finish your statement because we are limited on time.
Okay, I took a bayonet of cock to the eye. Before that,
A bayonet of what? Bayonet
cock.
So somebody's penis went into your eyeballs?
Yes, it was horrible, excruciating pain and pleasure at this. But recently, okay, when I was attacked, I first used my chest to squeeze and suffocate a Cossack warrior. Then I used my big thighs to crush 2 Chechen warlords. I crushed your stomach and had all the pleasure to myself. But then I was captured and I was put into the Mariupol concentration camp. That camp was horrible. The horrors I saw, they committed Nanking war crimes in my bussy.
In your what?
In my bussy.
What does bussy mean?
They knifed my prostate.
What does bussy mean? Is it true? Does that mean boy pussy? Is that what that means?
Yes, bussy. It's a trans-inclusive way of saying vagina.
Did you know that, Logan?
I did not, but I think I can offer some clarity on the whole bayonet attack.
Oh, yeah, please.
Did that happen when Lindsey Graham was over there?
Did Lindsey Graham give you a bayonet of cock?
Yes, he tried. He tried so hard, but he couldn't keep it up. It was like, oh.
It was a soft bayonet of cock.
Yes, it was a soft one. It was a soft one.
Why do you have a black child on this set?
Okay, the Russians have been taking transient, migrant, trans kids, trans folks, and they've been putting them on the front line as cannon fodder at Zerg Russias. The Azov battalion had to machine gun all of them down except for a few, and I had to perform gender-confirming healthcare with my mouth and no antiseptic.
Wait, slow down. You did gender reassignment surgery with your mouth on a baby? Is that what you're saying?
This is not a baby. This is a fully formed 15-year-old trans boy. How could you say that, Alex?
It doesn't look like a 15-year-old. It looks just like a small baby, if I was just guessing. You put your mouth on it, and then now it has a vagina? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, I ripped out its prostate gland,
that's
too.
not good, dude. If Allie Beth Stuckey or anybody at The Blaze watches this that I let you on and you're biting babies' penises off, that can reflect poorly on me, Jimmy. Did you get this approved before this little deal be approved, Jimmy? Because I don't know if we're allowed to give unauthorized circumcisions anymore after that first incident.
Alex, we purposely don't get anything approved.
Okay, all right, shit. All right, well, finish what you're saying. We have to welcome on Mark Dice very soon.
Our Ukrainian military is strong. The numbers of 60,000, only 60,000 have died. It's not 600,000. And the Russians, they're so scared of us, they have 4 defense lines to keep us away from them. You just have to use their big guns. But, your 15 F-15s mean nothing to their 300 SUV Sukhovs. They'll totally smash them, crash them, bang them.
What is it like being a transgender person in the military?
It's awesome. All these men, we're fighting together. We're fighting for freedom. We're fighting everyone. We're fighting everything. We're fighting the patriarchy. We're fighting the matriarchy.
What else do you do? I mean, is there any? Do you get a lot of dick? Is there a lot of guys around?
Yes, I mean, yes, and a lot of other things that Zelensky does too.
Oh my gosh, Zelensky does love his penis a lot. He plays the piano with it a bunch. We got a $20 super chat. Why can't a pimp get merch up in Canada? Anyways, appreciate you, Alex, and whatever's next, just know you have a fan for life. Also, shout out Jimmy, Darius, Danye, and all the crew. Merci pour ton humor los des temps sombres. Okay, I probably said a racial slur in there, but that's okay. All right, well, we got to welcome on our next guest, but before we do that, last thing you want to say, lady Ukrainian woman?
Don't worry, our whole economy will be presented and run by Bill Gates and Larry Fink of BlackRock. It will be a perfect world. It will be the new liberal world order, and we'll take in as many 15 million migrants from the Middle East and all over the world, just to replace the population that died in our aging 60-year-olds. It will be a new world order, a bright world dominated, vaccine mandated world.
That was an Azov Battalion thing. I don't know if you can do that. That was a little, what was that all about with your hand gesture?
The Azov Battalion, they fight Nazis. They fight those evil Russian
Then
Nazis.
why do they all have swastika tattoos?
It is part of all about, the double crossing, this.
Oh, so they're anti-Nazi Nazis.
Yes, they're FSB warriors.
Oh.
They all work for the ACLU and the ADL.
Are your breasts okay? They seem like they're...
I'm hearing a cruise missile right
Okay,
now.
all right, stop. All right, that's enough, Sarah. Get the hell out of here, Sarah. Please, just go. Or stay here for the interview, I guess. You maybe have a question for Mark. All right, guys, now we welcome on probably the best conservative YouTuber of all time. I'm not even kidding when I said that. A guy that really gave me my big break, a guy that I'm indebted to, helped build my channel. My channel wouldn't be what it is today, and I wouldn't be here what I'm doing, and I don't even know what the hell that is, but I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for this man. Welcome on Mark Dice. Mark, what's happening, my man?
Thanks for having me. I thought by now you would have gotten fired or canceled or banned, not because the show isn't good, but just sometimes it's a little bit too good. So I'm glad to be here while the show lasts.
Yes, and you know that the shelf life on this thing is not super long. Okay, but let's get right into it because I know you're busy and I want to get great reaction clips because I got to use you for clout, Mark. I've been using you for clout for the past 3 years. I cannot stop now. So I need you, Mark. I need you. But listen, I stirred up a bunch of controversy for asking presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy about 9/11, and his answer just, Brett Baier, Fox News, just government transparency. It pissed off everybody that actually believes the official story, or if they actually believe it. So I want to play this clip, and then I want to get your reaction. So we need a partner. Okay, rapid fire question. Was the moon landing real or fake, Vivek?
Was the what, moon landing?
Real or fake?
I have no evidence to suggest it was fake, so I'm gonna assume it was real.
Okay, 9/11, inside job or exactly how the government tells us?
I don't believe the government has told us the truth. Again, I'm driven by evidence and data. What I've seen in the last several years is we have to be skeptical of what the government does tell us. I haven't seen evidence to the contrary, but do I believe everything the government told us about it? Absolutely not.
Last two
I believe
questions.
the 9/11 Commission? Absolutely not.
Yeah, 9/11 Commission lied. Last two questions. So you'll see that Mike Pence actually called that comment, which I thought was pretty middle of the road, disgusting, and it's caused a meltdown. So what is your response to all this, Mark?
I thought his response was somewhat diplomatic because only an idiot would believe the official story, and he's got to be careful. Sometimes when you're in that position, you don't want to ask too many questions. It would have been nice if he would have thrown out an Operation Northwoods plug or encouraged people to kind of look at that. But he might not even know about that. But Mike Pence called him out for that, for not believing the official story.
Yes, they're fighting on Twitter like crazy. I don't know if we have the Mike Pence.
I saw the clip went viral. And he was getting pressure about it. Even for that, Brett Baier was hassling him about it. But the fact that Mike Pence denounced him, Mike Pence is a joke. You saw that Mike Pence doesn't even know how to pump gas. Doesn't know how to wear.
We got that clip right here. Yeah, look at this.
Remember $2 a gallon gas? I do. And then Joe Biden became president of the United States and launched his war on energy. Since that time, gasoline prices are up 60%. Electricity prices are up 25%. Joe Biden's war on energy is causing real hardship for working families, small businesses, and family farms. But we've got a plan to relieve all of that.
Your thoughts?
Better find a plan how to pump gas. You know, and find a new videographer, too. I mentioned this in my video that I posted today. He's wearing a lavalier microphone, which you don't even need, in the wrong spot. Like, who wears a microphone? You notice that right in the middle of his shirt. So Mike Pence is a joke. The fact that he's even running, that he thinks he can become the president is just a joke. He barely made the debate, which is 2 weeks from today. So there's a threshold that's very, very low. They have to get a certain percentage in some polls, a certain number of donations from people in various different states. So he actually barely made the cutoff. So the fact that this dude actually thinks he's going to run for president or could become president or be the VP of whoever he thinks is going to be the nominee is just an absolute joke. And by the way, back to Vivek Ramaswamy. Did you press Vivek about Operation Mockingbird? Because you know you can't have me on your show. You can't have a conversation with me without talking about Operation Mockingbird. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I don't know if you've had him on, but he has been ringing the alarm bell about it. And it's going over his host's heads. He was on Lex Friedman's podcast. He was always shoved in everybody's face on YouTube, the algorithm.
I don't want to cut you off. Why Lex Friedman is recommended to me all the time, and I purposely dislike it, and he still comes back. Sorry to cut you off, but keep going to your thoughts.
Yeah, I think he's like the newest YouTube's new establishment, like kind of favorite it guy, like Mr. Beast. And so Robert F. Kennedy Jr. mentioned Operation Mockingbird on the show and mentioned it on Megyn Kelly's podcast. She's become a pretty big YouTuber now that she's not shackled by the corporate controllers of Fox News. And nobody is talking about Operation Mockingbird except for us crazy alternative YouTubers and RFK. So if you have him on, and you're going to probably get that episode banned because she'll talk about vaccines.
Which are all safe and effective. We love every vaccine, Mark. Remember, they're so healthy for you. Get them as soon as fast as you can out of the womb. Sorry.
Yes, and the 9/11 Commission would never lie, and you should not Google Operation Northwoods or investigate false.
Well, let's talk about Operation Northwoods. So I just got to be on comedian icon Roseanne Barr's podcast, and we talked about 9/11, and she didn't even know. She knows about all these conspiracies, but she didn't realize Operation Northwoods was a plan during the Cuba Missile Crisis for us to false flag attack ourselves under the guise that a Cuban national hijacked a plane, flew it into buildings in Miami so that we could start a war with Cuba. And this is a plan that supposedly got shelved by JFK. And then conveniently, 40 years later, this basic same plan was the blueprint for 9/11. So a lot of people don't even know about that, Mark.
And not only that, but it was signed off by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who were the heads of all of the military branches. So it's not like some crackpot just put this idea together to commit a false flag attack in order to justify going to war to Cuba or to, try to invade and take over get the Russians out of there during the Cuban Missile Crisis. But the fact that they put it on paper is one. It was approved by all of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So, at the time, this isn't even like ancient history. They literally approved committing a false flag attack in order to justify us getting into war, which is how most wars actually start. And Seymour Hersh said, and he's got pretty reliable sources, that the Bush administration wanted to commit a false flag in the Strait of Hormuz in order to blame Iran and paint up U-2 spy boats as Iranian boats, commit a false flag. And of course, we know about the weapons of mass destruction hoax that was concocted by the neocons. Most wars throughout history.
Gulf of Tonkin, Vietnam.
Gulf of Tonkin, Hitler invading Poland. So they have, it's a common military strategy. And so that's just a suspicious, they have put the plans to paper before. So I think it's great what you did with Vivek. Just make them uncomfortable because they're so protected that nobody's going to ask them these difficult questions, these politicians, these candidates. But because of the new media ecosystem, many of them, and Vivek especially is one of them, they're doing a lot of these alternative podcasts because they know that nobody tunes into the mainstream media. And Fox News has dumped half of their audience or a third of their primetime audience. And so they know that to reach the general public, they have to go on podcasts. And so with you having the Blaze behind you, instead of just being a random YouTuber come on my show, the Blaze is a pretty decent brand name in conservative media. I think you should start putting their feet to the fire about Operation Mockingbird, and things like that. And by the way, there is an event I don't mention. I'm not going to mention, but there's an event I told you to get a press pass for that's coming up. Still in a little while, but I think the cutoff is in a couple weeks. So you probably know what I'm talking about.
I'll mess you privately on Skype, and we'll discuss those plans.
If you're not there, I'm never going to talk to you again. And if you are there, I'm going to find out about it because you're going to trend on Twitter. So just have the producers ask you what it is that I'm talking about. And for the audience, if he gets into this event, it will be fantastic. I think will eclipse his meeting of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and trolling of some of these other.
Nothing can beat AOC, Mark. You're one of the smartest guys I know, and even you know that nothing can beat my big booty Latina AOC. No, but on a more serious note, though, like obviously we like to joke around and like you love humor, but I'm starting to get very clown pilled. I'm starting to get losing a lot of hope with this Trump indictment. Like I love Trump, but I'm like it's kind of almost hard to find humor now. I mean, I can lampoon anything, but I guess I don't think 2024 is going to be very good. I think it's actually going to be worse in the summer of love. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to pop off, but I just foresee that there's going to be a chaotic thing with Biden either getting humiliated and then Trump's not going to be able to run. And I mean, I think we're going to have some sort of civil war possibly or something like that.
Wouldn't be a war, but no, I agree. I underneath the jokes and the smiles and the Brian Stelter voiceovers, I mean, I am very worried as well. We are in a collapsing society. I mean, there's no question about it. The national debt, the lack of patriotism amongst half of the country, the racial strife that's been stoked because of Black Lives Matter. It's going to be a big problem. And if he gets convicted and then the Supreme Court overrules it, there's going to be riots. I mean, remember, we're sort of like used to Antifa and Black Lives Matter rioting and destroying, large segments of different cities across the country. But remember, we never really had this until 2016 when Antifa and Black Lives Matter started rioting and attacking Trump supporters that were just leaving events. And that was when the kind of the violence from the left first started. We haven't experienced political violence in this country like that since the 1960s with like the Weather Underground and the riots at the DNC. And so I'm very concerned. We're living in Sodom and Gomorrah, basically, and I don't see any point, and I don't see any way for us to like turn the country around as a whole, at least for generations, because there's $250,000 national debt per taxpayer. That's per adult. The level of stupidity and ignorance, the atrazine poisoning or the BPA poisoning, the
burning the frogs gay. That's the reference people don't realize, but the frogs actually are going gay. Sorry to cut you off, Mark.
And that's another thing too that a lot of the conservatives, Matt Walsh has basically made his bones criticizing the transgender community, but he is only looking at it from one angle, which is the social contagion angle, which I think is probably very valid. But to my knowledge, he hasn't addressed the possible atrazine poisoning or BPA. And even though they've taken BPA, bisphenol A, out of much of the food packaging because it's been found to be an endocrine disruptor, a synthetic estrogen, and even 10 years ago, they found that the synthetic estrogen can feminize boys in the womb. They even know the specific area of the brain, the INAH3 region of the hypothalamus, that's responsible for gender identity and sexual orientation. And it feminizes that part of the brain. So if these people are having massive birth defects because of synthetic estrogen and too much estrogen in the womb, and they're being born this way, that opens up a whole other can of worms about testosterone treatment or hormone treatment for, measuring the hormone treatments in the womb. And if some of these people have been victims of this kind of endocrine disrupting poison, that's a whole other level than just not accepting people's preferred pronouns or just kind of rejecting the transgender argument on its surface, because then there's a whole other problem at work here. And RFK mentioned this. I don't know if you saw this, but he mentioned it on Jordan Peterson's podcast, and it went right over Jordan Peterson's head. He started mentioning about how, one of the major problems of the youth today is the endocrine disruptors. So it's a mess, man. I mean, like, that's why it's your job to, try to put a positive spin on this. But we are, I don't think there's any question, in a collapsing society, because, you look back, what is the Roman, remember the Roman Empire? What have they done to lead the world in anything since they collapsed? What was it? 1700 years ago? Nothing. The British Empire ruled the world. Their decline probably was around when we decided to break off and start this great country, 250 something years ago. When is Britain ever led the world in anything? You know, so it's going to be a big problem, and the country's just going to fracture, and it is fracturing into basically two different camps, and then conservative enclaves within certain liberal states, and then you'll have the liberal wastelands of inner cities, even in conservative states. But then outside in the more, more rural areas or the kind of the smaller cities, under the 500,000 cities, they're going to have kind of a little bit of normalcy. But it's like we're fractioning into two different societies within the same country. And the differences in America are no longer like the Republican versus Democrat used to be, well, how do you stand on the death penalty? Tax cuts for the middle class. How do you feel about abortion? I mean, look at how insane it is. It's now the party of transgender children and abortion up until the moment a child is born versus a party of good old-fashioned Americans who, were basically, and the Republican Party is almost like what the Democrat Party was 10 years ago in a certain aspect. So it's going to be chaos, man. I don't think anybody has any answers, but whatever's going to happen, nobody really knows. I mean, it's just
no idea. But Mark, you said
buckle up.
You said the best thing, though. We talk about these endocrine disruptors where, you're right. Maybe these kids, maybe we need gender-affirming care for the kid that didn't have enough testosterone. Maybe we need to give boys more testosterone at a young age. Like, maybe that's a reverse application of what we need because we've given them so much chemicals and we are eating all these foods with genetically modified stuff with all these phytoestrogens. Maybe we actually, it's not just a libs of TikTok teacher saying, oh, let me put a pride flag. Maybe these kids' endocrine systems are so messed up, like you said, the parts of their brain are disrupted and now they're homosexual or transgender. So, I mean, that's a big problem nobody talks about.
They don't. And in her book, Dr. Deborah Soh, in her book, The End of Gender, she's kind of an old-fashioned liberal, not a leftist authoritarian, but she's against all the wokeness. And she says at the very end of her book, she cites research. She does like a PhD and stuff. So she cites research about how they've done tests in animals where they can literally make the offspring of rats gay.
And they had a gay bomb. Yeah. What about the gay bomb, Mark?
Yeah, that's another extension of that kind of technology where they literally can up the estrogen level in a rat's womb and make the rats gay. And so if that's happening to rats, they test, obviously a lot of products and chemicals on rats because sometimes some of the biological systems are similar to found in humans. And so if that's the case, and she even admits that opens up an ethical can of worms because if they know, which it appears that they do, what's causing people to be gay or transgender, then by saying that it's a birth defect, which you're not supposed to say, which I would never say, I would never go against the
We would never say that. We love the WHO. We love the CDC. They're the brilliant, best organizations in the world.
Yes. And I would definitely not detail this in my new book, which is coming out at the end of the year.
We'll definitely get Mark's book.